into another episode of the Life with Shine podcast with your girl Drika Shine here. And I am so excited every time it is time to deliver a podcast message because it just has so much meaning to me because it's so dear to who I am and the message I'm here to bring. And so today we're going to be talking about understanding yourself, which I believe is very, very important when it comes to you getting everything that you need or want and deserve out of life. Okay? One thing that came to mind as I was kind of getting dressed and ready for today was that the world is simply giving me what I've already given myself. And I think that's profound to kind of think about and process because it actually puts the power back in your hands, right? I mean, to think about the world gives you what you've already given yourself says that you have control over your circumstances, over your experiences, right? Like you get to choose what you need in each moment and give it to yourself, right? Without relying on something outside of you, something external to fulfill that need. And I think this speaks to a level of inner safety and security, right? Being able to be secure, a secure person, a secure human being, a secure woman. And I believe that this comes from the result of you actually tending to your own garden, tending to your own needs first. Now, it's important to note that as women, society in so many ways have conditioned us to live somewhat in our masculine energy. But when you go on the journey of healing and embodying your feminine essence, your feminine truth, your feminine energy, you realize that that is where your true power lies. Your true power lies in your femininity. Okay? Now, this can be activating for some of you and more so an invitation for women to embody more of their feminine essence, their feminine truth, their femininity, their power. Because this is what you need. Now, forget what the world needs at this point, at this moment. This is what you need to be at your highest level. Which means you have to know that putting yourself first is number one. Your energy is for you first. And based off you providing yourself with the needs, the self-validation, the self-respect, the just everything that you really need to function, then other people get to benefit from the work you're doing on yourself, right? The focus that you're putting on yourself. Other people get to benefit from your energy just by your presence alone. You don't need to prove yourself, you don't need to over explain yourself, nor convince anyone of anything. You are just simply being who you naturally are, in your natural truth and in your authenticity. Now, what I know about being in your feminine power is that you're not here to be functional for others, for the world, right? Meaning you're no longer performing, you're no longer people pleasing, you're no longer doing things that is out of integrity with you, which means as a result of that, those who are in your close proximity, your intimate spaces, or those you share your energy with, they could be triggered by the fact that you're not playing certain roles out anymore, right? Like you're not playing, you're not performing, you're not people pleasing. And this is a growth thing, this is an evolutional thing, right? And so what I've realized is that those who are not able to honor or respect your growth, sometimes you have to put distance, you have to provide space. And then over time, they can work through whatever they need to work through, whatever they was triggered by or whatever. But based on how they handle your growth, your evolution, or you doing things that's best for you, will show you who really is in it on the level that you need them to be. Meaning, are they able to be emotionally available, emotionally intelligent? Are they able to communicate with you in a healthy manner, right? These are all things that you start to analyze when it comes to your relationships and your experiences with other people, right? And one thing about it is, and this is something that I say, and this is something that I actually embody, is that you cannot expect someone else to respect your time or energy if you don't, right? So because I respect my own time and energy, that may piss some people off who were looking to benefit without actually reciprocating, right? So there has to be a reciprocation in your relationships, no matter who they are and no matter what form, right? No one's off limits. And so this is your power as a feminine woman, as a goddess, as someone who knows who they truly are and is operating in that identity, in that knowing, because no one can take that from you. No one can take the self-worth that you have claimed and embodied at your core. The only thing the world can do is reflect that or respect it, right? They can only respect what you embody, the boundaries that you hold, the expectations of what you set for your own standards, right? Of what you will allow and what you won't allow. And so that brings me to the next point of this process, is because you have to understand, when you are embodying and living in your feminine essence and feminine truth, that you are constantly allowing your spiritual path, your spiritual journey, your personal evolvement, your personal evolution to unfold day by day. And this comes with you facing those parts of yourself that you need to love and claim, right? As we mature, as we grow, as we age, by not being insecure, right? So, meaning wherever your insecurities showing or coming up to you, that's your indication or your invitation to actually love yourself that much more, right? And this is something that you practice. This becomes your spiritual practice. This is what spirituality actually is. It's your self-love. It's you loving yourself unapologetically and not looking for someone else to provide you with the love that you deserve, that you already are. And so this is where we get into understanding our intelligence, right? And we are in, of course, a time where we see AI, artificial intelligence, is running rampant, right? And that is just technology, right? It's information. But I want you to understand that nothing beats your human intelligence, your human consciousness. Nothing can replicate that, right? Nothing can beat that. So, with you knowing yourself, understanding yourself, right? This is where we're going to get into the intelligence of it, right? Because I have been complimented in various places that I've been for my intelligence, right? And so it had me thinking, okay, like, what deeper ways can I look at this acknowledgement that I'm receiving, the feedback, right? So I realized that there is different forms of intelligence, right? We've already spoken about the artificial intelligence, but we also know that our personal intelligence, our intelligence cannot be replicated. So this is where I'm going to show you guys something that I discovered in my research. Okay. Now we have two different forms of intelligence that I'm going to speak on just for the context of this particular message. Okay. But you can do your own research. There's deeper information you can find. There's way more different forms of intelligence. But for the sake of this message today, I'm going to just speak about these particular two. And the one that I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to bring up the I believe it was the article or information I came across. Okay, so here we go. We have inter-intelligence and we have intra-intelligence. Okay? So, intra-intelligence means within, means as is happening within you. The intelligence within, meaning your knowledge or knowings of yourself within, like who your inner workings, how things work, understanding the mind, the body, the soul, the truth. And then we also have inter, which means between, which is more of an outer intelligence of what's happening with the world around you, or your outer world, your outer experience, your outer reality, your understanding of others, right? This is what this is meaning. The intelligence that you hold from the experiences around you, your environment, your life, right? in an exterior way. So why is this important? Because one of the things I really teach on in my core message is the inner work. But what I also am in a time in the season in is really expressing, right? Because we have a period in times where we have to go within, right? And discover ourselves and go into ourselves in these, very in-depth ways, right? But then as you evolve in your spiritual journey, you realize that, okay, I now have an understanding of the inner world and my inner working within. And so I have to correlate that into my outer reality. So in this time in my evolution, I am looking at things from a very much grounded and balanced place, which means that I am seeing it from the duality of knowing that it's about the inner world and the outer world and how that can bring balance within me, right? So having balance between the inner world and the outer world is just as important when it comes to your wholeness and your well-being. Okay? And then another thing I want to point out about feminine energy is that, like I've already stressed and emphasized, is that your spiritual energy is for you first. And which means that you have the ability to nurture yourself. You have the ability to nurture yourself. So for any of you who've seen my previous episodes where I talked about healing the mother wound and being your own mother, this is what I mean by that. Meaning that you have the capability with your feminine energy, your feminine essence, to nurture and reparent yourself, to become the parent that you always needed and wanted, right? Especially in adulthood, right? Because your healing is your responsibility. We're not making any excuses. We are owning our power. We are owning and claiming our sovereignty. So, with that knowing, we have to operate from our truth. So, this comes from what? Understanding yourself. So, a lot of this work is knowing how you operate and how things truly are. Within and without. And so improving your intelligence, and you guys can go in deeper and look up these words here, intra and inter intelligence, when it comes to knowing the difference and also knowing how it correlates to you and what you are aware of already and what you can increase your awareness in. Because this is where transformation begins. When we want to change our life and our circumstances, we have to understand that we hold the power within ourselves to do so. We have the power within ourselves to do so. So this comes with raising our standards and being unapologetic about it. I was on Facebook and I came across a post where this lady asked, she said, when it comes to your healing journey, which do you notice most? Do you notice what does not serve you, or do you notice what does serve you? And so I responded on the post because I think it was an interesting question, and I think my answer provided value, so I'm going to share it here because it kind of correlates to what we're speaking on here now, which was, for me, I notice what does not serve me first, because it sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, you know how they say negativity, it's very much, it's loud. It's loud as hell, right? So negative energy. I notice what does not serve me first. But I also, in that same moment, simultaneously, because of the way my mind works and operates, because it's very solution focused, no victimhood here, is I then start to notice and replace it with what does. Now, I never get calls like this, but I don't know why my phone is going off. But then I notice what does serve me to replace that thing that does not, right? And then from there, I create a new standard, right? So things that don't serve me actually does serve me because I use it as information to see where I could raise the bar, raise my standards. And so this comes with you owning your self-worth, your self-value, knowing you are worthy, and then knowing that what you're no longer here for, right? Like you're no longer tolerating certain things. Because when you're on a spiritual path and evolution and growth, you're constantly refining, you're constantly shifting, you're constantly changing, you're constantly evolving, you're constantly getting new information. And so what may have been okay for you before may not be in this level of version of you. And so that's the beautiful thing about this work, is that you can continue to recreate yourself, right? Creating new standards over and over and over and over and over again. And this should be continuous. As long as you have breath in your body, this is how you should be operating as a woman. And this is how you should be seeing life. So when it comes to you stepping into your intelligence, this is where you first got to get a hold of the fact that you're a grown adult, right? So the little girl in you that needs that nurturing, that reparenting, you got to first work through that stuff, right? And then once you clear and work through that stuff, you become more secure and solid and grounded in who you are. And then now you can start to see how you're not so emotional, right? You're not caught up in emotions as facts. You're now able to use your logic, your intelligence to problem solve, to create solutions for yourself. Because no one's here to save you. No one's going to save you. I've seen where, you could try to give people certain things and information, but if they're not ready to change, it's useless. You have to be the one that is self-motivated and inspired within to make the changes that you need to make for you. You have to become that person. You have to become that version of you who says, I'm going to show up in my highest level possible and show up as her every day, and knowing that each day is going to present new opportunities for you to rise even higher, for you to claim more. This is femininity. Feminine energy always seeks more. This is where you start seeing yourself living instead of dying. when you're living in your highest expression, when you're choosing your highest timelines, you're saying, hey, I'm choosing to live my best life. So the changes and the adjustments I need to make to take better care of myself is on me. It's on me. Which means that you have to look at where you're looking for someone else to be responsible for something that should be your responsibility as an adult. So this is where we have to do the shadow work to dig deeper within ourselves, to claim our truth, our essence, our femininity, our power, our sovereignty. And this is really what the spiritual path is all about. And this is what I help my clients with inside of my private spaces, my one-on-ones, and my mastermind. And I am happy and thrilled to do this work because it truly allows me to show up as my highest self and in my purpose, right? So if I can identify what it is that I truly bring as the gift or the medicine for other women inside of my spaces, the transformation is definitely you embodying more and more of your feminine truth, your power, and living in your purpose. This is what I help you do inside of my Deeper Than Beauty Mastermind. This is what I help you do when it comes to me supporting you and creating ways for you to bring your gifts to the world. Your natural born gifts. So I'm going to leave the link below for you guys to connect with me and my work further. I'm super excited to know how this information has landed for you guys. I am in love with this podcast. I am still looking to get more guest hairstylists and on the podcast, but for certain, if I'm being honest and truthful, this podcast is for me. Regardless if I get a guest on here or not, I still am going to show up because this is my platform. And those who understand the value of investing to be here will be here. Those who understand the value will be here. And so I'm grateful for those guests who will show up in the future. And so with that being said, the show must go on. I will continue to deliver the divine messages that I am here to deliver about life, love, and business and entrepreneurship, you know, and you know, based on spirituality, knowing that this always have divine essence threaded and weaved all throughout everything I do, because that is my purpose. Living out my divinity. Okay? So I look forward to connecting with you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in for this week's episode of Life with Shine. If this has blessed you, please share this with a friend, with a sister, with a brother, whoever. It doesn't matter. But most importantly, do what needs to be done for you to take care of yourself and love yourself unapologetically. Put yourself first. okay? And know that the world is going to show you a reflection of the work that you have done, and it's going to be quite beautiful. All right? So thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Peace and love.